Yo, what up, YouTube? We are back, and we are going to be talking about the WARBOND today that just released with the Illuminate update. Came out the next day after the Illuminate. It's actually a really fun WARBOND. There's also stuff in the Superstore, you know, that also kind of coincides with it. Stun Baton, heavy armor with the new perk. If you guys haven't seen it, reduces reload speed by 30% on primary weapons. It's bugged at the moment, and it's also affecting some support weapons. To my knowledge, the only weapons that seem to be actually improving in reload speed wise is the AMR, and then anecdotally maybe the railgun as well, but unconfirmed. But basically all support weapons without a backpack are benefiting from the 20% increased ammo. So instead of 20% or 20 shots for the railgun, you're going to 24. So it's really nice armor. I would definitely try it out. Speaking of the WARBOND though, we have another support stratagems WARBOND, which is surprising, but I guess not surprising at the same time. At the end of the video, we'll talk about kind of like one of my thoughts on should they be doing it, but we'll keep that for the end of the video. Starting off, we have light armor. It's probably the armor set that I've been using a ton at the moment, just because like the extra reload speed on your primary and some support weapons like the AMR just feels so good, man. It's great. Really good. Really good. Highly recommend checking out the armor. Unfortunately, we don't have a medium armor set for this, which is kind of disappointing. I would definitely have used that at times, but they keep doing this, and I really hope, Arrowhead, if you're watching, please do light, medium, and heavy, or allow us to mix and match armor passives. That would just be really nice. All right. Next, we have the Directional Shield. It's kind of like a phalanx shield that you can do, and there's a little bit of team play. They show it off in the video up above. Really fun. You need a one-handed weapon. You aim down sight, and it'll automatically deploy. You kind of like wear it like a shield. It seems to be tankier than a regular bubble shield, which is nice. And it recharges quite fast. I think it's within 10 seconds, it fully recharges. It seems to recharge a little bit at a time. So you could actually like see it recharging as you're like holding it, right? Or it could deplete and then slowly recharge again. You'll see it like building back up, which is kind of cool. It works really well with melee weapons because you can actually maintain the block and poke, which is actually pretty cool. It does not block melee damage, unfortunately. Because if a melee animation goes through the shield, it will still hit you. If you've heard reports that it blocks melee, that's not true. It's probably just because the melee couldn't reach you, but at least hit the shield. It will do damage to the shield, but it won't block the damage. Maybe that's something they'll change. We'll see. Next, going into the Flame Sentry. Very fun to use versus the Voteless, the zombies in Illuminate. You can see it right up above. It's actually hilarious. It has like basically aimbot. One minor gripe though with it is that if enemies get too close, it may aim too far down and it lights the ground on fire. And I've noticed that can kill the flamethrower turret quite fast. I think it should just be immune to fire in general. But overall, I do like the turret quite a bit. I think it is quite good. And I've used it like a little bit in bug missions, but mostly been using it in Illuminate. Really nice against like the different types of bugs. Obviously, you got to protect it versus chargers and stuff like that. But it should penetrate a charger's leg and stuff of that nature. And from what I've seen, I believe it does have the same pen as like a regular flamethrower. But yeah, really nice. It's also got like aimbot. So it's actually really good at swapping targets. So very impressed with it. Next, we have the arm supply pods. More or less just a funny gimmick kind of pick. It's cool to be able to throw in your resupply pods and get like a little liberator with a massive magazine. It seems like the magazine's around 100 shots or so. It's useful. Not a great booster, but also not a terrible booster. It's just kind of funny. It's really cute to see it shooting and helping you, and you can kind of, you know, throw your resupplies in an advantageous position and it'll help you, which is nice, you know, which is nice. We got a heavy version of the new Siege Ready, which is great for like bot missions and stuff like that. Next we have the Kick, which does do damage and is affected by the peak physique armor. You can one-shot your teammates. Careful if you're wearing the peak physique armor. I did that a couple times when they were wearing like medium and heavy armor. And also, if you aim your camera up, you can kick them in the head. Fun fact. Yeah. It's just fairly silly. It knocks things to the ground, like enemies to the ground, and it does like a fairly good amount of damage. It seems like it's about the same amount of damage as a regular melee though, so nothing too crazy. And you can kick while on the ship, showing it off quickly. And you can aim it where you want. It's kind of silly. I actually really like it. It's probably like the best cosmetic in the Warbond. The next one, and I think the best part about this Warbond, is the anti-tank emplacement. This thing is insanely good versus automatons. Like just some like little stats for you. It was 2-shotting the engines of dropships. It was 3-shotting the eye of a factory strider. I believe it was on average 2-tapping a tank, depending on like weak spot or not, 1 to 2 shots. Hulks, if you aim for the eye, it's 1 shot. If you kind of hitting like front faceplate, 2 shots. Like it was 1-shotting Devastators, 1-shotting like regular rocket striders and stuff like that. Really good. 30 shots. Very, very good. It's got a zoom function. We're going to show it off on map in a second, but like really strong. Also, you know, 2 shots behemoth charges in the head, 2 shots of ball titan in the head, 1 shot's a regular charger in the head, or like the spore charger. Fairly good at ad clear. It doesn't have crazy amounts of AoE damage, but it is enough that if you like spam the ground around enemies, you can kill them with you know, the explosion radius. It's just not like advised, which is fair. I mean, it's an anti-tank weapon. You're not exactly going to be using it for chaff, but it can do that. Against Illuminate, it's not, I don't really recommend it versus Illuminate at the moment because Illuminate doesn't really have any like heavy armor, but you can use it to one-shot the Watchers, or sorry, the Harvesters. Don't do what this guy is doing and just like spam the eye. Aim for the leg, right? As we showed earlier in my previous video, you know, you want to hit that like, you know, that like arm part before the elbow on the Harvester. But yeah, skin for the Rover. Obviously, we don't have access to it yet, but it looks good. And yeah, let's get into game and show it off. We're now on the planet just to show you off like what it does. This is the shield. It's really nice for like melee combat. Pretty funny. You can definitely start like using your melee and feel a little bit like safer against those ranged enemies. Remember, it's not working against melee, but what's really cool about it is that it like you can use it in the different stances. So like you can actually like fully protect yourself while like kind of advancing, you know, and it will work with like one-handed weapons. I forgot to bring a one-handed primary, but you know, if you have like a crossbow, this thing is incredibly good. I can see this being very meta in like bot missions for those that like love their crossbow. Just running around with the crossbow, you essentially will like be able to tank a lot of laser, like heavy devastators and stuff like that. You'll still get knocked to the ground by rocket devastators and stuff like that, but you know, that was always going to happen, unfortunately. If you see a rocket coming towards you, probably want to stop doing the right click just so you're not a massive target. But yeah, really fun. And the melees work. Just for anyone wondering, like, does the melees kind of work with the Blizzy Shield? It does. Not as well. I still think you're like, you know, making a little bit too much of yourself vulnerable when you do that. But, you know, it does work. Next, looking at the flame turret. Flame turret, very cool. It's actually already tracking that enemy over there, but it's not in range. The range tends to be about the exact same distance as a normal flamethrower. So nothing crazy there. And then we have the AT emplacement. Really love this thing. Big projectile. Does 2 shots to a independent illuminate like dropship if you shoot like the bottom like, you know, circle, right? Unfortunately, it's not one-shotting these guys, but it's only 2 shots, which is not too bad. And the AoE on it is fairly decent. You saw the other guy did die. Bullet drop-wise, like, it's not terrible, but there is some drop on it. You do need to kind of keep that in mind, but I love how much of a distance you can get with it. You can definitely start, like, sniping fabricators and stuff like that with this, and, like, you know, far off, you know, ball titans and stuff like that are coming towards you. Turn speed is not the greatest, but, you know, when you have 30 rounds, you can really start, you know, spamming it. I'm really enjoying this on the Illuminate defense missions. I think it actually is like a solid performer, double tapping those Illuminate dropships. And then whenever a Watcher comes out, you know, you maybe wait for one of your teammates to break the shield, and you shoot the arm, one-shotting it. Very strong. So, yeah. Hopefully you guys enjoy this like little roundup on the Warbond. I quickly just want to talk about, you know, stratagems being inside the Warbond, though. I have kind of a mixed impression on this. I like, at one point, I'm like, I really wish that all the stratagems were just, you know, free to anyone that wants to play. But at the end of the day, I do understand that, like, because of the way they've done their monetization in this game, you really can very easily not spend an absolute dime and play this game totally free, you know, years into the future. And, you know, they do want to incentivize some amount of spending in their game, which I think is, like, somewhat fair, because at the end of the day, they do need to make money. I don't think it should be like, you know, we shouldn't shun them from completely making no money. They need to actually, like, fund the game. And they've been adding a lot to the game, and I think in a, like, a really, like, pretty fair, fast process for, like, how big of a studio they are. One thing I would like to see, though, is that maybe don't add so many per Warbond. You know, maybe like one free, one in the Warbond at the same time, something like that. Or just, I do think that super credits should be easier to maintain while doing harder missions. If you guys don't already know, doing like a level 2 mission is by far the best way to farm super credits at the moment. Going into the harder missions technically is a slower process because there's no like multiplier. And yes, the maps are technically bigger, but on average, you know, you're not dealing with as many POIs as fast because you're dealing with more enemies and you're slowly going through the map. I know there's going to be some guy in the comments says like, well, you're just bad, you need to go faster, and if you do this build you can like get lots of super credits. But like the average planet doesn't have that many POIs. I'm sure you've been on those frozen planets and there's literally 2 POIs on the exact, like, the whole map. It would just be nice if there's some kind of multiplier that, like, as you go up in difficulty, you know, one, you know, super credit pickup is maybe worth ×2, so you can kind of get a little bit more of a passive income of super credits at times. But at the end of the day, I do think that it's not that problematic. It's just if they go this far where there's constantly going to be 3 new stratagems per Warbond, I think that can start to, you know, wear away at people. So I just want to, like, heed that warning for Arrowhead in the future. So anyways, that's my take on it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm streaming every day with this new Illuminate update, every day on Twitch, except for Mondays. Hell, I might be live this Monday just because of how hype this update has been. If you're interested, check out the Discord down below. The Twitch link is also. And have a great day. Happy hunting. Peace.